Hey, come on in, y'all. I'll be here waiting on you when you get here. Come on into the laboratory. I'll be here when you get here. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know you're here. Who are you there? Hey, Mr. Johnson, how you doing? Well, come on out, Marvin. Appreciate you coming in, man, checking me out. Hey, Miss Cheney, how you doing? Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Thank you for coming in. You'll definitely understand what I'm going to talk about. Hey, Marvin, hope this is good enough to warrant you giving me one of those good cakes you make over there, man. Hey, there's my friend Miss Baker. We're gonna be talking about her a little more later on down the line today. Well, hey, it's 5 o'clock. Let's get started, y'all. Hey, RV, how you doing in Atlanta, Georgia? Thank you for coming in today. We call this spot the lab because I'm coming to you all from my laboratory. Most people call it an office. I call it my laboratory. That's where all my foolishness and even sometimes good ideas are generated. Hey, First Lady Irene, glad to have you here. Hey, my nephew, welcome aboard, man. And and what I thought about was this whole pandemic thing that we've been enduring for the past 3 weeks to 4 weeks here. That's not just in Memphis, but everywhere. And I purposely have not spoken on that because I didn't want to be out there in front of everybody and not really having a full grasp of what's happening. So this past week I thought about it. I thought that may be an opportunity for me to share my perspective of all of this. You have to understand, I'm looking at this from several different angles. I'm looking at it from my grief mindset because it's been a grief recovery specialist. I have that mindset. I'm also looking at it from a project management mindset, being a certified project management professional, PMP. I'm looking at that. And then I'm also thinking about from my healthcare, being in the hospice business over 20 years, and I merged all these things together and all these different experiences to think about and have some opinion about what we're really doing. And as I go about my day doing my job out and about in the community, one thing I realized just in seeing how people are functioning during this time, people are out here operating with a vacation mindset in the middle of a crisis. Because this is a crisis that we're in. And people are operating with a vacation mindset in the middle of a crisis. I talk to people every day and they think that this is all right, it's going to be over soon, and things are going to just carry on like they are. And I have to tell people, no, it's not. We're in different times, and going forward it's going to be different. It would not be the same normal that you always had. But people don't seem to accept it. There's a reason why in our community, 71% of the deaths are African American. There's a reason why 67% of the people positive are African American. As I walk through and I drive through this community every day, I see the reason. A lot of people in our community just do not think that this thing is real. And this is as real as it gets. People are dying from this. But let me stop right here and put a little caveat in here. The opinions I'm expressing are totally my own. Even though I work for Methodist Healthcare, it's not their opinion. I have no idea of the policy making procedure because I'm not involved in that. But I can tell you what I see on a daily basis. With me being deemed essential, I'm out there every day in the community. And people are walking around and having fun. And I know we have to try to make the best of a situation, but we also have to be careful with this situation. But people have, like I say, people have a vacation mindset in this crisis. But if you look at it, every corporation, every business in America just about, if they didn't have it, they have it now. A crisis response plan. Your household should be functioning like a business. You should have a crisis response plan because we are in a crisis. You know, that this furlough that you're on, these few weeks that you off and you think that's okay, that it is okay for now, but this furlough might just be pre-unemployment. But we're going to get back to that. So think about that. You plan today, you're going to be praying tomorrow and looking for a job the next day. So you have to have a plan. And you may say, Jeff, what is a crisis response plan? Why should I have? Well, that's my PMP mindset. But let me back up and give an example of what I'm talking about when I say that people have a vacation mindset and just aren't paying attention to this thing. And this is not violating any confidentiality. I met with a lady this week. We talked about hospice care for her. She's a wonderful lady, up and about everything. And after I left, we talked about an hour and a half. Everybody wore masks and everything, PPE at her apartment. She called me back. Hey, Tony, Anthony Calendar, welcome in, man. She called me back later on, about an hour later, said, Mr. Harris, I want to start this hospice thing. Go ahead and get it started. So I got my people together, got my nurses round up, and I called her. I called back, and her niece answered the phone. I said, well, just told her where I was. I said, we're ready to come over. I'm going to have my nurse come over and going to talk to your aunt, your great aunt, about hospice care. She said, well, we're getting ready to barbecue and grill. Can you come Monday? Because it's going to be chaotic because everybody's coming over here right now because we're going to grill and everything. I said, are y'all familiar with Corona? She said, yeah, but that's okay. We're just going to come over here. Everybody want to see Auntie, so we're going to come over here. And I thought to myself, that's that vacation mindset that I'm talking about. The lady is already compromised with her illness, and now a house full of people. And I passed by, just riding by. It could have possibly been 25, 30 people in that apartment when I passed by there. But all of them going over there, when the government rules actually tell you, don't congregate no more than 10 people. So that's when I talk about vacation mindset. We are on a vacation, people. People are mentally on vacation about this thing when they should be wide awake because this is a crisis. But how do you build and develop a crisis response plan for your family and for you? If you're a single person, for you. Well, the first thing you have to do, you have to consider the various scenarios. Now, you have to play out everything so you can get a good look at the big picture. What if I get sick? What if somebody gets sick? What if somebody loses their job? And what if we get in trouble with our house? And Lord forbid, what if somebody dies? And then the next thing you know, you have a crisis within the crisis. And so then the next part of that, you have to develop responses for the scenarios. That's my project management mindset speaking, y'all. You have to develop responses for the scenarios. Okay, if I get sick, what happens next? What do we do? If I lose my job, oh yeah, you might lose your job because like I said, this is pre-unemployment. Think about it. When the economy returns, it's going to come back slowly. And they aren't going to need the amount of people they needed when they put you on furlough. I'm as essential as anybody, but I'm also as expendable as anybody. So I know that. And we all are like that. So you need a plan for what happens if somebody loses a job. You might need to get that 23-year-old son in your house who's working every day, but you never asked for a dime. It may be time for him to pay some rent so you can stack some paper. Then heaven forbid, what if somebody dies? What do you do next? All these should be part of your scenario, and your second step, you should develop responses to those certain things. If you die, who does what? What happens? You say, well, I have life insurance on my job. But what if you lose your job before you die? Because all of this is possible. So you have to talk about those things and keep those things going. Then you combine all those scenarios and all your responses, and that's your crisis response plan. You have to take this plan. It won't solve everything that comes up because no one can lay out all of the different scenarios that may happen, but it will be your foundation for if something happens, it would be your foundation on how to deal with whatever happens. See, the plan is to mitigate the damage, to come out of this crisis with as less damage to yourself and your assets and your family as you possibly can. That's the plan. It's not going to solve everything, but it would help you. If something happens, your crisis response plan will help you and your family to deal with what's going to happen or what's going on. And then the next step in this, you have to hold regular meetings. You can't just develop this plan and put it away. You have to talk to everybody. You have to let people know, this is what we're going to do. This is who you go to. This is our plan. You want everybody to be on the same page. My friend Brian Worthy was in the military. He understands that everybody's on the same page. You can call this crisis, you can call it a war, but everybody has to be on the same page. Now, half the house can't quarantine while the other half going down the street playing with neighbors and everything. That doesn't work. Everybody has to be on the same page. You know, some of us have to go to work, but a lot of these people out in the street don't have to be in the street. So you have to make sure you sit down and you talk to your people. Talk to your children and help them to understand what's going on, because they've never seen anything like this. Now they say, well, children are frightened, they're so scared, they just don't know what they're going to do. Well, you have to talk to your children and help them to understand that things are not going to be like they were, because they aren't. There's going to be a brand new normal in our society once and when, if this thing ever ends, there's going to be something brand new. And your children may not have the life that they had pre-crisis, pre-corona. So it's your job to sit down and explain this to them and help them understand that it's going to be different so that they won't be so disappointed. I hear people talking about, my child won't get to graduate, he's disappointed. I've spoken with a lot of seniors. A lot of them don't give a hoot about graduation. It's most of the parents are disappointed than the seniors are. So let's keep this in perspective, people. Let's keep this right now. Children don't care as much about this stuff as we think. You know, it's the adults that want their glory behind it, but you can't have that. And with this whole plan that you may have with your family, be flexible, be nimble, because in times of crisis, you have to be able to adjust to what's happening. I know within the hospital system, our policies change hourly, just based on what's going on. But we have a crisis response team to monitor and make those decisions. And that's what you need in your family and your household. You need somebody monitoring what's going on and somebody in charge in the chain of command and the communication channel to let everybody know this is where you come for your information. I'm going to be the one sharing the official word for the family. And that's okay. You say, well, that's too much like a business. Well, family is a business. And you have to operate like that quite often. And so as we get through this pandemic, this crisis, this thing that we have going on, because I'm not going to hold you long. I was only planning to do this about 15 minutes. As we get through this, just remember, be flexible. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. And let me say one last thing before I get off. If you have someone that you care about, or that you have a relationship with, and you're friendly with, use this time to stay connected to them. Because, let me explain what could happen. They could get sick and go to the hospital, not just from corona. People have been in the hospital long before corona became a pandemic. They could go to the hospital and you could never see them again. Because once a person hits the emergency department, during this pandemic, they can have no visitors, even though they're not going there for corona. They'll go to the emergency room, they'll be put inpatient, they'll stay in the hospital for as long as need. And then you can't come visit them, because all hospitals, all long-term care facilities, all nursing homes have a no visitation policy. So therefore, your friend, your loved one, or whatever, who you've been meaning to talk to and connect with, they're going to be in the hospital and you cannot talk nor connect with them. And then, heaven forbid, if they die, yes, people die for other than corona, but if they die, you would not get to go to the funeral, because right now they are not holding funerals. So you would not even possibly get to lay eyes on them again. Cemeteries are having graveside funerals, but they aren't even setting up tents or chairs for people because they're only limited to 20 people. So think about this. So take this time and think about how you're going to be after it's over. And also take this time and connect with your loved ones and your friends and let them know how you feel about them. And for God slowed us down for a reason. And during this slowdown, connect with the people you care about, because I can tell you, if something happens and they end up in the hospital, by no fault of the hospitals, but if they end up in the hospital, you may never see them again. And sometimes people go to the hospital for simple stuff and don't come back out. So take this time and just connect with your loved ones, connect with people you care about. And we're going to be okay. And we're going to get through this crisis. We've been through much worse. But it's us to take personal responsibility to follow the rules, but also take the personal responsibility to make sure we do what we can on our end so that we'll be better when we get through all this. I thank all you all for tuning in to me today. And I have to tell you, my friend, Miss Tanya Baker, we're going to do some stuff together in the coming weeks on here that's going to really be exciting for everybody. So I hope that you all will tune in then. Hey, go to my Facebook page, hit like, put some comments. Let me know what you think about this. And once again, enjoy your Saturday. Thank y'all for tuning in. Goodbye.